So, hey guys, how you doing tonight? We're on board the Airbus 321 on the ground at Doha. Average is just connecting himself. We've jumped into the jet anyway just to get it ready. So, a few things to go over before we get going. So this is going to be a walkthrough of how to fly basically the Airbus for new guys on the 321, 320. All aircraft are exactly the same. You can pretty much fuel plan with exactly the same fuel plans too. So this is the default way you'll pick the aircraft up. So we're going to do a few things first. Click Aircraft State, which is line select 1. Then at line select 2, by the line select keys are these ones here, so it just selects the line. If we've got the right hand side, you'll notice that, so I won't have to tell you it's because you can get line select key L1, which would be that one, or R1, which would be that one, but that's just overcomplicating things. So we're just going to say click turnaround state. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that. And then we're going to get out of that by clicking the return. Reasonably logical. Now, because we're at an average stand, we're not going to be getting any steps to the back door, so we can close the back door. And okay, also one more thing before I forget. The doors on an Airbus, on all aircraft, go from left 1 to left, then numerically down. On the Airbus family, there's only left 1 and left 2, left 1 and left 2 there. These two doors here are emergency escape doors, as such we can't open them. And cargo doors will be front cargo and aft cargo. And obviously right hand side is right 1, right 2. In terms of ground services, we can actually get rid of the GPU. Alright, so GPU, it should be set up like this. I've disconnected the ground power unit because the next thing I did was I started up the APU and connected that, and we now have that running. We can then turn the bleed on after a few minutes so that the packs will start working and start cooling the internals down. Now that we've done all of that, we're going to do the fun part, which is to go to checklist, checklist on, copilot on. So what we'll do is we'll just click that there.
Cockpit preparation checklist.
Engine master.
Both off.
Engine mode selector.
Check normal.
Parking brake.
On.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
ECAM recall. Emergency lights.
So whilst they run through the checklist, I'm just going to pull up the manual.
Station panel.
It's checked.
Sorry, the briefing pack, just because it's been a few days since I recorded lesson 1.
Set on.
Adheres.
Checked.
Checklist complete.
Now the reason we do the checklist like that is because the aircraft itself can do them for you, and it's brilliant if you're learning to fly the aircraft because you don't have to push the buttons, you just have to fly the aeroplane, and you can also learn from them what buttons to push when. It's kind of handy not to push the wrong buttons, because it tends to go very, very wrong very, very fast. Anyway, so what I'm doing at the minute is I'm just pulling up the operational flight plan. So I'm just going to have to quickly regenerate it because it's been a few days, as I say. I deleted it from my computer, the original one, but I'm just having quickly regenerated. This is obviously on SimBrief. It's part in part 1, which this will be in a playlist of the School of Airbusness. It's just taking a while to generate the navlog. So as I say, I'm just waiting for that to happen, but I suppose whilst we wait, I can talk to you a little bit about what the Airbus actually does. Or the Aerosoft Airbus actually does, sorry. Now, it's not a complete PMDG level model. Now, when I say PMDG, I mean every single switch does exactly what it's supposed to do, and you have failures that are accurate. With this aircraft, you could probably fly it, have an engine failure, and it could deal with that, but you can't really do much more. You know, whereas if I was flying the NGX, I could configure it to give me an engine failure at V1, or an engine fire at V1, or things like that. Obviously, I can't do it in this because it's not as in-depth. Personally, I think that's really good if you're just starting out in flight sim, because when you start to learn to swim, they don't throw you in the deep end and expect you to know how to swim. This was my first, reasonable complexity aircraft that I learned to fly, and I absolutely loved it. So what we're going to do is we can just go into the views menu, left MCDU, pops up, and we can hit Inish. Now we're going to go for, actually one thing we can do beforehand is to go, it's not DIR, no, it's MCDU menu, FMGC, will that do it? No, it won't. Right, forget it. So we'll go OT HH slash OMDB, and we'll input that into there, which is line select key 1. Now our alternate airport is OMDW, which is Dubai World Central. Again, the reason it says none is there aren't any co-routes or company routes loaded into the system. Now in IRL, what will happen every month, one of the mechanics will come on the aircraft and plug a memory stick in and download loads of routes into the aircraft. And so the crew can say, we want to go from Doha to Dubai on Doha Dubai Route 1, and that'll be a standard thing the company has, so they'll all know exactly what they're using, and it's all fine and dandy. We haven't set that up because that's a bit of a cheat, and I'll show you that later on. Today we're flying as QTR, which is Qatar Airlines 1004. Cost index is 11. Now I'm going to quickly check our cruise flight level. It gives you all of this in the operational flight plan, which is flight level 230, which is 23,000 feet. So we'll just type this as FL 230 zap. Now in this stage we'll just put our block fuel requirement for the flight in, which is going to be 7.2 tons. So just literally type, there we go, and then that'll allow the aircraft to know how much we're actually going to put on board. There we go, that's an immediate initial fuel prediction for the flight. Now I'm going to just get rid of this and actually not get rid of it, we'll go and look over to the secondary MCDU, because we're not doing the before start checklist yet because we aren't pushing back, and we can do load and fuel. Now today we're carrying, it doesn't actually tell me how much we're carrying, that's slightly frustrating. Oh, it does. I believe it was 208 passengers, so just say 208. It was 2.4 tons of cargo, 2.4, and as we said we'll be taking 7.2 tons of fuel. Now normally I would just hit start boarding, load cargo, load fuel. Today we're going to cheat it all and just load it in instantaneously. So it's immediately popped the whole load in, and before the fueler leaves we'll just check he has actually given us 7,200 kilograms of fuel, which is correct. Now we've got the flight plan page. Don't worry, we are getting there, guys. We're going to leave from runway 34 left today. I'm not going to discuss the weather at this stage because that's just going to get you confused if you're new to the Airbus, which this video is designed for newbies on the Airbus. Now we're just going to scroll all the way down to Alsum, and we can just say Airways, and after Alsum we're going direct to Astog. Can you say DCT, will that work? No. It basically thinks I've given it an airway. So the next waypoint, as I said, is ASTOG. Just there we go. After Astog we hit an airway though, so we can hit Airways. This is the quickest way to input the route, by the way, and it's Lima 305 to EI to EAT ETA. There we go. Then after that it's direct to DESD, so we can say temporary insert or temp insert, which just inserts the whole thing into here, and you can see we've now got all of our limitations and directions as far as ETA. After ETA it's direct to DESD, as I said, and we'll take the standard instrument arrival from DESD. Now we can look at this and we can clear the discontinuity after ALSUM by hitting clear and then dropping it over the discontinuity. That makes things a lot easier. Now with this aircraft it cheats a little bit, and all you do is you have to put a flap setting in and it works out the appropriate figures for you. Now as you may recall, we are quite heavy on today's flight. So we've got flaps 1 for departure, which is pretty standard, and then it's derating us, so very rarely will we actually use full power on the engines. We'll use what are called derates, so we'll just say we can safely take off from this runway, because it's a really long runway, with only using, let's say, 90% of the full power available from the engines. So you know, it's like IRL. If you're driving your car and you know you've got a really long straight section, that's not a good example, but yeah, I'll think of a better example whilst we're flying. So that's all we need to sort out here. The flight planning is pretty much sorted. Fuel prediction doesn't actually have one, which is concerning, but we are anticipated to get to Dubai with 4.6 tons of fuel on board, which is nice hold time, and we're anticipated to get there at 0049 UTC. I can't be right. 49 minutes after departure, because it's just basically telling us it's considering our departure time is 0 at this stage, and landing in OMDB at 10 to 1 in the morning. Oh well, 49 minutes later, after having flown 246 nautical miles. Also, something we wouldn't normally traditionally do at this stage, but we'll insert the arrival into Dubai or Dubai. I don't know how you pronounce it. If you do know, do let me know in the comments. As I say, we wouldn't do this traditionally because you wouldn't normally know what your arrival was. But I'm doing it now because it's a very short flight, and if we have to be quite low over DESD, it'll affect us quite heavily in the cruise. So what we'll do is we'll just say we're going to fly the ILS 12 right, and a DESD 8 Bravo, and just insert all of that. And that actually hasn't changed. It has changed our time en route. There you go. And it's taking 7 minutes longer, and we're burning 400 kilograms more in the way of fuel. So if I just scroll down quite quickly, you can see where we actually start descending well after DESD. We start descending because at Rulam we have to be at or above 11,000, and top of drop actually becomes at Rulam, where we start dropping pretty rapidly to get down to the ILS. Okay, so I'm now going to just close this. Easiest way to do it is right click and hit close window. And then we'll do the before start checklist, and we'll end the video. Actually, one more thing. We're flying uncontrolled IFR because we're not on VATSIM and there's no air traffic controllers. So we type 2200. Be careful, leave quite a long time between your clicks because sometimes it doesn't register them. That's a tip from the pro. We can then say return. Aircraft doors. Just close front left. We can go to the doors page now. Front left is now closing. Then we can close the cargo doors. And that's that closed. Now we can go back to the checklist and do the before start checklist.
Before start checklist.
There we go. Bang on cue.
Windows and doors.
Closed and locked.
APU.
APU on.
APU bleed.
On.
External power.
Disconnected and off.
Cabin signs.
Set on.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Bearer reference.
At the minute it's set to 1013.
Set.
Okay.
1010.
1010. Check. Beacon lights.
Set on.
I'm actually just going to go back inside but you can see they are doing things. The one thing they can't do themselves is remove the average, so I have to do that. Is that the before start check's complete? Yes it is. Is it? Yeah. So that's the end of part 1. A fairly short episode, however fairly important in what we've learned. Well, it's been 15 minutes, so that's a nice kind of length. So this is the pre-flight part of the flight complete. and next we'll enjoy the actual takeoff. So we'll see you then, folks. It'll be the next video to go live. See you then, folks. Bye.